Hi ladies, how are you? Nice seeing you. So, we continue doing Torah Mishpacha, and today we're going to start talking about some laws. Laws regarding the difference between blood, what happens when a woman sees some blood that comes out of her, the difference between blood and staining, what happens if she stains, okay? So I'll start with this. Rav Zilberstein, he is a rabbi that lives in Bnei Brak, and he's very expert in all kind of laws regarding medicine. People come and ask him questions. A lot of doctors come to consult with him on many issues regarding medicine. So once a bunch of doctors come to him to consult with him, and they ask him this kind of a question. So they found to know, usually we know that certain cancers, are hard to take care of them, to fight against them, because they found too late. One of them is the uterus cancer, that's found usually too late. And so they're asking, they found that if a woman takes certain test, okay, on her, and so they could track, if she carries, okay, this cancer, God forbid, in her body, and once it's found in an early stage, usually they could fight against it, no problem whatsoever. They could fight against it. It could disappear. They could take care of that. So they asked him if it's okay that women would take these tests, okay, beforehand, and so to kind of take care of this disease. He was thinking about this, and he consulted with his father-in-law, Eliashiv. He was asking him too, and they came to a conclusion that it's better not to take this test. Why not? Because he explained that a woman, by the fact that she is performing this mitzvah that's called family purity, okay, she can erase this sickness, this disease from her body by the fact that she separates from her husband, and she does all the checks in between, and then in the end she immerses herself in the mikvah. But if they already found that she has this disease in her body, okay, then you really need a great miracle, a revealed miracle, nes galui, so that to make this disease disappear from her body. But once we don't know if you have it or not, this mitzvah that the woman is performing, Taharat HaMishpacha, can make a lot for her not even to have this. So we're talking about a very important mitzvah, and looks like it limits the woman, looks like it's too much, looks like why we need all these details, but it's for our own benefit, this thing. So let's start talking about laws, okay? Every woman that some blood came out of her uterus, the uterus, okay? Doesn't matter if it came outside from the uterus to the cervix, or outside, outside the vagina into the underwear or whatever. Okay, if it comes from the uterus, so they say that she becomes Nidda. Okay, and by the law, if a woman becomes Nidda, we know that at that point she and her husband cannot have close relationship, physical relationship. And so she'll have to wait until it's all done, and then count her days, goes to mikveh, and so on. By the Torah, there's two different type of tum'ot that a woman has, impurities that woman has. One is called Nidda, and one is called Ziva. I don't want to confuse you, but in the time of the Torah, the differences between Nidda and Ziva. In the time that we used to have the Holy Temple, a Nidda doesn't have to bring sacrifices or offerings to the temple, but a Zava, she had to bring offerings to the temple, and the accounting, the calculation is totally different, and so I'll explain you very quickly what is the difference between them, but we don't want to go too deep into there because we don't have the Ziva today, we don't have these laws. It used to be many years ago, in the time of the Holy Temple, okay, 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, that the cycle of the women were different. We have to understand that the bodies have changed throughout the years, whether because of food. We don't eat such a healthy food like people back in time used to eat. Today we have hormones that they put, that they give chickens, and okay, everything is chemical today basically. The air is polluted and everything, okay, adds up. And so the cycle or the way of that the woman used to get her period years ago, it's so much different than today. Think about this, years ago, and we don't have to go so many generations back. Our grandmothers, they used to get pregnant, okay? And then for the whole pregnancy, let's say, so she doesn't have a period, she's clean all this time. And then she used to, after she gives birth, she used to nurse the baby up to 2 years. And all this time she wouldn't get her period yet also. And then once she gets her period, she goes to mikvah, again she gets pregnant. So every 3 years they used to get pregnant, no preventions in between. She doesn't need all kind of contraceptives not to get pregnant. Natural protection, this nursing for 2 years. Today, people don't nurse for such a long time. And even if they do, you can nurse up to a year, let's say, or a little bit more even. It's not a guarantee that you won't get pregnant in meanwhile. And so it's different. The way people used to get their period was different. Their cycle was different. Once their cycle was much more precise than today. Today, once woman may get after 28 days, next month 29 days, the following month 31 days, or 27 days, and it plays around. And it used to be so much different back in time. So, women used to have 2 different cycles at the same time. One cycle that's called 7-11, 7-11, 7-11, 7-11, 7-11. We don't have this cycle today. This is called Ziva. And once, okay, parallel to this, every 30th day, like today, she would get her period. Now, if she gets blood comes at the cycle of the 7 days, 7-11, 7 days, so she's Nidda. And see how it used to be in the time of the temple. She used to count only 7 days, whether she would get her period 3, 4, 5 days, doesn't matter, she would count only 7 days, all together goes to mikvah, that's it. Mm-hmm. That's if she gets her period during the 7-day cycle. But if she gets it during the 11-day cycle, so if she gets her period, if she gets something that comes out of her 1 day or 2 days, she just waits 1 more day and goes to mikveh. But if she gets more than 5 days, she has to wait like today, 5 and then 7 extra days and goes to mikveh. That's how it used to be in the time of the Holy Temple, right? By the years, and after the destruction of the temple, people got confused. And they lost track of how to count. When exactly starts this cycle of the 7 and 11? And what if I get in during the 7? What if I get during the 11? People got mixed up. So women took upon themselves that after the destruction of the temple, they make chumrah, they restricted themselves even more, that every cycle that she gets, she waits 5 plus 7 clean days, and then she goes to mikveh. We get it only once a month now. We don't have this cycle of 7-11, 7-11, 7-11 anymore. Okay? So Now, this law that women took upon themselves, it became halacha. Even in the Gemara they state that it became halacha, and there's no really leniencies about this. People have to wait 5 and then count 7 clean days and then go to mikveh. Now let's go back to our subject. What's the difference between blood and stain? Blood is when a woman sees some blood is coming from her uterus that comes with a feeling, with a sensation, which I'll explain soon in a second what is this sensation. And a stain is a blood that comes out from her uterus, okay, but without a feeling. What is this feeling that we're talking about? And again, see the difference between those days and today. When rabbis asked women, what is this feeling what do you feel when something comes off your body? Women used to say 3 different feelings that they may feel. Okay? Number 1, the feeling of blood, the opening of the cervix, which is today, if you ask me, I don't know if people know or understand what does it mean, this feeling, the opening of the cervix, the opening of the uterus, and blood comes from the uterus into the cervix. Okay? This is the feeling that they used to feel. Number 2, the whole body shakes and shivers. Okay? Number 3, a strong flow of blood all of a sudden comes out of her body. Not just feeling wet, a strong flow of blood that comes out. This, what women used to describe to the rabbis, how they feel whenever blood comes out of them. Nowadays, not so many, and I don't know women that feel this opening of the uterus or the opening of the source, that's how they call it, or the body shakes and shivers, or a big that comes out. Most people today, when you tell them how do you feel they give some signs of how they get their period. So cramps in the stomach, painful, sometimes in the back, cramps in the back. But these pains that relate only to the day that she gets a period. Those cramps she won't see when she has a stomach ache, because she ate something not well, not good, not clean, or what. No, just something that relates to her period, right? So some women feel this way, some women feel that way. Every woman has her own feelings, what she feels the day that she gets her period. So if she feels this kind of a feeling, and she knows that every time she gets a period, she feels this kind of feelings, right? So she anticipates that right afterwards she's going to go to the bathroom, and she'll probably see during the day, she's going to see something, okay? This is called dam, blood that comes with a sensation, because otherwise you won't go to the bathroom because you didn't feel. You went to the bathroom because you felt something, and then you go to the bathroom and then you see something. If you just go and you didn't feel anything, okay, and it's not your period time or anything, because you didn't feel, it makes it ketem, it makes it a stain, okay? Now, let's go slowly with this law. So Rabbi said that חזקה על דם שנמצא בתוך גופה של אישה שבא עם הרגשה. Usually, a woman, חזקה means 3 times in a row, something like that. She feels the same feeling. She sees blood comes. She sees blood in her body. Okay, that usually it comes through the feeling. That's what they say. If she sees blood, usually it comes through the feeling, and therefore when a woman, let's say, makes an internal check inside her, even though she doesn't really feel this feeling, but they say probably because she was busy doing the check inside, so this is why she didn't sense that feeling. And usually if she makes a check inside, an internal check in a piece of cloth, and she sees blood in there, okay, usually she's Nidda when such a thing happens. Of course, when she just wipes herself from an external outside and she sees something, it's not a problem like making a check inside. Also, woman becomes Nidda if there are outside stimulators, let's say she makes too much exercise, too much working out, okay? If she works out too much, she may see blood that comes from the uterus. Or if a doctor makes an internal check inside her body, okay, can cause her a nidda if he opens the uterus, because every time you open the uterus, blood comes out, okay? So every time woman needs to go to the doctor, to the gynecologist, she has to ask him, what type of check, let's say, if it's a regular checkup, a regular pap smear that she has to go once a year or once in 2 years or something, usually they don't go deep and usually they don't open the uterus. So even though you're going to see some discharge from there, a pinkish color, red color, a brownish color, it doesn't make you nidda because it's not coming from the uterus, it's just from the cervix. But if he does an internal check that he opens the uterus, sometimes women have problems with getting pregnant and the doctors do all kind of tests on her. This kind of test can cause her see some blood from the uterus, then she becomes nidda. So in this kind of situation, it's better to go to the doctor to make an appointment just before you're supposed to get your period, or just when it's just finished, so you don't have to start the whole cycle and wait extra days, okay? So it's better to do it this way. Now let's speak about staining, because I want you to be aware of this thing. Once there was the woman that came to Rabbi Akiva, and she asked him, she told him that she saw a blood, and he asked her, did you have a wound inside, something inside that caused this bleeding? She said, yes, I had this wound a few days ago, and the last 2 days I didn't see blood, but now again I see some more. And he tells her, could it be that wound that you have got healed a little bit and then it reopened? She says, yeah, probably reopened again. So he told her, you're okay, don't worry, it's because of the wound, it's not from the uterus. That's what he told her. So his students were looking at him surprisingly, like, how do you make her kosher so easy? And he explained them that when rabbis say that you have to be strict is if it's blood which comes with a feeling, as we mentioned before. Usually on stainings is rabbinical, it's not from the Torah. So we try to be lenient with stainings. We don't try to put more restrictions and make it more harder on the couple. So with stainings, we're trying to be lenient. And Sephardi are much more lenient with staining than Ashkenazi. Ashkenazi people, they take it very seriously. By us, it's not needed because it's rabbinical, and with rabbinical we try to be lenient. Okay. So, let's try let's see in which conditions a staining would be a problem. Okay. Number one, it depends if if a woman calls me and she tells me I saw something. Now I think that I'll ask her is, did you feel anything? Okay? Describe me, what did you feel as you saw something came out of you? Number one. Number two, was this staining that you saw, this blood that you saw, was in internal check or not, as we mentioned before. Okay? Number three, depends if what type of, let's say you saw it on an underwear, on a piece of cloth, this staining that came out, this blood. How clean was this piece of clothing? Let's say your underwear. I'll tell you what. There is something that's called beged baduk. It was a checked cloth, meaning you knew before you put it on you that this underwear was clean. It was after laundry and it was clean. You saw it carefully, it was clean, and you put it on. And then if on top of this you see, let's say this blood, okay, if it was clean, it may be a problem if you see it. And of course, there's other conditions that will come up as well. If the underwear was not clean. Let's say you were wearing it before, and usually you have discharges, and it made it stained yellow color, let's say, or something. And on top of this came this blood or stain that you see. It makes it easier because this cloth is not cleaned already, and it had something on top, and it has something underneath, this blood. So it can increase the color, okay, of the blood that came now. So it makes it easier. And if this cloth was not clean at all, okay, it makes it easy as well. So it depends how clean was this piece of cloth or this underwear or whatever that she was wearing. Number 4, what is the size of this stain? Years ago, people did not have tight underwears. Tight underwears is maybe the last 200, 300 years. I don't know. They didn't used to have tight underwears. They used to wear these robes. Okay? Let's say a woman went to lay down on her bed. She gets up and she sees a stain on her sheet, on her sheet and on her, let's say, a robe. Today, if such a thing happens, I'll ask the woman, so this blood that you saw, did it come through your underwear? Or you will have only a stain on the sheet? Okay? If it's only a stain on a sheet, could be from other source. It doesn't have to be your blood. Could be some other thing. Once a woman asked me that she saw, as she woke up from bed, she saw this blood on her sheet. And so I asked her, did it come through your underwear? She says, no, on the underwear there's nothing. So where is this coming from, this stain of blood? So she was trying to think. I asked her, what did you do before you took a shower? Before she went to sleep, she took a shower. What did you do then? Then she remembered she was shaving herself and she cut herself. And probably from this cut came this blood that she saw now, right? It didn't come through the underwear. So what is the source of this bleeding? This is, if it's not from the youth, it's not a problem. You have to, or sometimes a woman once called me. She saw red color on her sheet, and then she realized that she wanted to go to rest, so she gave her kids some markers to paint, to draw, to color or something, and they colored very well everywhere. So, right? What is this source? But we are talking about what is the size of this stain. Size of stain. We're talking about, the size. So years ago, because people didn't wear tight underwears, so let's say there was a bed bug or any kind of a bug on the bed, and she sleeps on it and she smashed it, let's say. So the dimension of the bug as she kills it could go up to, it's called, this bug years ago used to call grease. The dimension could be up to, let's say, a nickel, a 5-cent coin of today. This is the dimension of the how it spreads, the blood of this bug. So they say if you saw less than 5-cent coin, it's not a problem. It's probably from one of the bugs. But if you see more than that, okay, so it's probably from you, and this is where it comes. The people ask you, what is the size of your stain, okay? And if, let's say, people today have different, if they also mention if you are in an area that there's bigger bugs there, and the dimension of the blood could be even bigger than 5 cent, so even a bigger amount won't be a problem because people might have this kind of bugs around. What is the shape of this size of this stain? Shape doesn't have to be round. Shape could be all kind. Could be long. Could be all kind of. But you put it together, figure out if it comes to this size of 5-cent coin. Okay, this nickel. So this is what we're looking for. Then, what is the color of the stain? There's all kind of colors. There could be a white color, which is not a problem. Off-white, not a problem. Yellow, all types of yellow, not a problem. even light brown. Light brown, I mean like a caramel color, like light coffee. These colors do not derive from red, okay? So these colors could be okay, but then, or let's say, they say light gray if happens, greenish if happens, bluish, it depends of all kind of sometimes food or medicine that they take that can color but if it comes different colors like red, orange, pink, brown, dark browns, black, maroon, all these colors, it shows that it's not clean, it's not good color. So it depends which color. Obviously, if it's red, then it's a problem. But if it comes all the other colors, it makes it easier. Number 7, on which object did you see this stain? There are some objects that accept tuma, impurity. There are some objects that do not accept tuma. For example, if woman sits on the floor, bare floor does not accept tuma. If she sits and she gets up and she sees blood, not necessarily she becomes Nidda, because the floor or the ground does not accept tuma. And also things that are attached to the floor permanently, like the toilet, like a door. So these things, if she leans on them or sits on them and she sees some stain on it, it doesn't accept tuma. But some other things, like a table, like a chair, that are movable, okay? This is when these things can accept tuma. I'll soon summarize it all and all will make sense. It depends also if a woman if a woman saw it on a cloth, piece of clothing, right? It depends if it's cotton clothing or not. Let's say a woman was wearing a cotton underwear. A cotton underwear accepts tuma, takes upon himself this impurity. Why? Because it's such a material that absorbs the stain. Try to clean a white underwear from a stain, from a blood of stain. It's so hard to clean it, right? Because it accepts. But other materials, okay, let's say she's wearing a nylon underwear, a polyester. It's easy to rub it off and clean it. These type of material do not accept tuma. So when a woman calls and asks, I saw some blood, I'll ask her some of these questions. Did you see it on cotton underwear or polyester underwear? Depends if you were wearing a white underwear or colored underwear. White accepts tuma. Colored underwear does not accept tuma. So even if it's a pastel color, which is light blue, light pink, yellowish, okay? It doesn't have to be dark colors. Once it's colored underwear, does not accept tuma. Okay, so women that tend to have problems with stainings, okay, we sometimes advise them not to wear white underwear. It depends, as I said before, if this underwear was clean or not, whatever. Also, they say a material that's less than 6 on 6 centimeter, okay, these materials do not accept tuma. If it's more than that, it accepts tuma. So these are the and then the biggest thing is, what could be the source of this blood? Sometimes you see something, some blood that comes out, and you run into conclusion, you think you're Nidda. Wait, is it coming from the uterus or not? Let's say a woman has urinary tract infection. It can cause her sometimes to bleed from there, but it's from the bladder, it's not from the uterus, it's not a problem. Or she has constipation. She goes to the bathroom and it causes sometimes to bleed. A woman after giving birth, she sometimes have hemorrhoids. It's not from the uterus. Even though she wipes it and she sees blood, it's not a problem. I had once a woman, one of my students, she called me. She had a kind of polyp that grew in her vagina, and she went to the doctor to remove it because it was so painful. And it was bleeding afterwards. And she asked me, is she Nidda? She's not, because it's not from the uterus. It's just from the outside. It's not a problem. It's not convenient, maybe. It's not this, but she's not Nidda. They can touch. It's okay. So these are the difference. Now, also another thing in the source of the blood, sometimes you deal with blood and this can cause you see some stainings here and there and then you're confused. Years ago, it used to be that women dealt with blood more than today. So let's say today you buy a chicken, right? It's already ready, you don't have to do anything, you don't have to soak and salt or nothing. So, but years ago, people had to kosher the chicken themselves. It's a lot of blood to deal with. Or you're invited to somebody that just moved to a new house and they shecht, I don't know, many chicken for the whole crowd. And they used to pluck the feathers, they used to even burn the legs, if you remember. Yeah. All these smells and all this. So it can come to a situation, you get up from your seat and you see a blood stain. And where could this be from? And so think about this. What could be the source? Or sometimes not even dealing with blood. Let's say you're in the kitchen and you're working with beets or wine, or so you see a stain on your skirt afterwards and you say to yourself, oh. But think, if it again doesn't come through the underwear, you don't have it, but you have it only on your skirt, it could be that it's from other sources, right? And not from inside of you. So another thing that I wrote here, if people pee and they go to and they see blood inside the toilet, it doesn't make her Nidda yet. Okay? Just for you to know. Rabbi Elazar, the son of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he used to be a rabbi that decides for women they're kosher if they're pure for their husbands or not. So once it happened that in one day 61 women came to him for this particular question, and 61 of them, he dismissed them, he told them that they're all kosher, they're all okay. So the rabbis were amazed, like, how come you so easy for you to kosher and this and that? And he told them, if you don't believe me, I know that whatever I made a psak, it's good. If you don't believe me, I'm telling you, if I was right, all these 61 women will get pregnant this year and will have baby boys.
Wow.
And if I'm not right, so let it not be. And all these 61 women got pregnant this year. It says even some of them were barren, couldn't have children.
Wow.
They got pregnant that year and they had baby boys. And okay, and so this is the beauty of. So when we go to the rabbi, don't be embarrassed. Some people say, oh, well, better wait one more day, 2 more days, I don't know, a whole week or something, but not to go. I'll tell you why it's good to go to the rabbi. A rabbi, and make yourself please one rabbi, because if you keep asking around, the rabbis don't know your history, they don't know your cycle, they don't know your body, and so they can tell you all kinds of answers. But if you go to the same rabbi, he knows already from previous history that you told him how your body functions, how your body works, when you're stressed out, how your body reacts. Okay, because of these stainings that you keep asking him, or medicine that you're taking, or whatever, all kind of things that happen, you keep asking him. He knows already your body and he knows what to tell you. It's nothing to be embarrassed from. Sometimes rabbis, they even save a woman from certain problems. There were some women that used to make a check. I'm sorry, I think I have here a Badika cloth I could show you. Yeah, it's a clean. I just once showed how to make a check with this. So she used to make a check, and always on one end of this Badika cloth was a stain of blood. Always, she used to make a check, and here, as she makes a check, there was always this. So the rabbi suggested that he told her that she probably has some problem over there. And when she went to the doctor, that's what the doctor told her. He told her, how did you know that? Because they tend to know the colors. They learn these colors. Not because it's an interesting subject, but to know the all differences of the red colors and the brown colors and all the other colors. They sit and they learn these things to answer people. So it says also about David HaMelech, King David, that he once said that all the other kings, my friends, they all sit on their throne and enjoy and have fun and everything, and I deal with, I wash my hands usually after I deal with coaching women after I check their placenta, or after she gives birth, and the fetus sac that I check, and all this, I check their Badika cloth to make her kosher to their husbands. So it's a good thing. And Ed Badika, they are witnesses that you performing this mitzvah, and they will testify in heaven how you keep this mitzvah. And even though sometimes it's hard and it's not easy, this mitzvah makes you, hopefully with the merit of this mitzvah, you're going to have Talmidei Chachamim, great children, great family, Bezrat Hashem, a lot of nacht from your kids, and of course, big portion in Olam Haba. Thank you so much. God bless you. Toda Rabba.